Um, Let me start by sharing my screen. So, is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, so um it's my pleasure talking to all of you here, because it's always exciting to talk to MBA grads, right? Because you are the one who's front phase of innovation, and you're trying to make things happen for businesses, and you're moving the needle for any industry. So it's always exciting to talk to MBA grads. So it's my pleasure actually, and I'm calling this session Industry Connect, because I'm trying to bridge the gap that I see, that is existing, or that is expanding with your course in your management studies versus what is happening in the industry. And I belong to a software industry. I worked in a software industry throughout my career, um, and what I feel is there is always like what we do in round square, we are domain agnostic. So that means we are not dependent on any domain, and then we believe that tech is an enabler to make changes in any domain for that matter. So that's the reason I felt that, and I am trying to keep this session as relevant, um, or as general as possible, so that it can address um, various domains, and in whatever field you are in your specialization in your MBA, I felt that there should be something to take away in common for all of you. So I'm trying to keep this session um, very general, and then I'm trying to bridge the gap between what is happening in the tech industry versus what you learn in the course. So it is more like a bridge. You need both, but I'm expecting that this session will add to what you know already, and then to take you one step forward. So, starting with a joke. Mm, so, what do we do as managers, or once you are out of your MBA? Um, you're 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 an MBA graduate now. What society thinks is you just make money, and what your former co-workers think, that you are just splurging money and burning money. And then what do your friends think, that you are just partying all the time. And then your parents always think that we are studying. And what we really think about ourselves is like Steve Jobs trying to create a dent in the universe by becoming entrepreneurs. But what we really do, we make PPTs and we are on the Excel sheets. So this is just to bring the mood a little lighter. So how many of you agree to this? You can actually unmute and talk.
That's pretty right. And the least that we think of is doing MBA from remote.
That's right. So, and do you know? I mean, just to add a fun fact, the first MBA course, when was that started?
No, not really. When was that?
So it was 1908 in Harvard School of Business Administration. So it was 1908, the first MBA course. And I think we are pretty sure that we came a long way from 1908. It's almost 100 a century. So what we really uh, uh, want to or aspire to do as managers or MBA grads after getting into an industry or after starting your careers is setting vision for the companies, setting strategies, driving innovation, um, setting up sales policies, and driving profits for your businesses, engaging your customers better, um, operational efficiency. So, in all fields of your in your work, whatever domain you belong to, you look at building good teams, improving efficiency of your operations, engaging your customers better, delivering good service to your customers. So, all of this is what you really do. But let us check facts, what really happens. So, this is a quick survey from Accenture 1770 frontline, mid-level, and executive level managers from 14 countries. And what did they report? That 54% of their tasks are filled with administrative coordination and control. And what really that you plan to do or aspire to do, like driving innovation or strategy, and then building world class teams and solving problems, it is only taking up a very less percentage of the actual tasks. Just imagine if a part of this 54% or all of this 54% gets automated, because it is just an administrative work, it is a mundane task. um, what really you could do is what you aspire to do, is what you could really work on. So let's get into, in the further presentation, let's get into how you could achieve it, and how tech is driving the change of the way we work. So, management and winds of change, how the evolution of management is going on. So, in the beginning of 1910, 1950s, the human resource movement, if there are any HR guys in the audience right now, so it started in 1950s, the human resource movement. So they are, I mean, the teams are working on productivity and people, setting up processes. And in 1970s, around that time, it was mostly strategic planning. So the SWOT analysis that you learned in your um, course, the growth share market, growth share matrix that you learned, they are all from 1970s. Then 1980s, it was competitive advantage. That is, there are some processes that are going to be introduced into our industry. Um, and then, I mean, if you have heard Six Sigma, Lean, total quality management, so all of that started around that time. So you're setting goals for, um, your organizations, and you're setting up processes to achieve those goals. So roughly, data collection started around that time, 1980s, 1990s. And then in 2000s is when, if you see, it's called big data, but it's mostly digitalization. So people were collecting data, and markets really blew up that time, because um, since the onset of globalization, um, there is there is no cap on to whom you can sell and what you can sell. So there is we are all fighting for the same pie, basically. So um, there are, practically, there are no limits to whom you can reach out. So you can produce anywhere in the world, you can sell it anywhere in the world, you can contact anybody in the world. So that's what globalization did, and everything changed after that. And then, that is when the data collection process, all of that took shape, because you're fighting for quality over quantity, because quantity is achieved. You have unlimited uh, uh, amount of market to reach to. But then quality is important. Who is buying, how much are they buying, how to optimize my process so that my profits are more. So all of that started in 2000s, around that time. And now what is basically happening is the onset of ai ml. So 2021, this is, and then we are talking about AI. So I need a few answers here on what is AI, and why should you, as MBA graduates, care about artificial intelligence. Can anybody quickly answer that?
So as far as I know,
Artificial
no.
intelligence
Yeah, Maniti, go on.
means that we inbuilt in a system or code, so they just follow the rules what we say. So it is something like there is a meme saying that artificial intelligence says if else. It's a kind of a nested if condition where there is no end. So only the condition which has the correct set of instructions will work, and the remaining won't work.
Okay, and anybody else? That's close. Not completely true, but yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Hardik this side. So, as far as I know, the name itself defines it's like artificial intelligence. So, something which machines are learning from big data and from their experiences which they are learning. That's something we call it as artificial intelligence. Like if they are getting we are adding the information and they are grasping it, and according to that data they are presenting themselves. So that's something I know.
Okay.
We allow the
Ye-
computers
Yes,
to
ma'am. And
patterns.
Yeah.
We allow the computers to make patterns, and depending upon the test data that we give, they analyze the data and process the data, which they don't know in the future.
Okay. Okay. Close. Somebody else was also doing Himani.
No, I think it's Gunjan. Gunjan, you were trying to say something, right?
yeah, we care for it because it always increase our efficiency and accuracy. That's why we care for it.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, and next few slides I'll tell you what really AI is, because Round Square is into data analytics, AI, and ML. I think I'm getting a resound in. Um, Somebody should, I think, mute themselves. Okay. So, I'll get in a minute on what AI is. But then, why should you care? Because 72% of business leaders regard AI as a business advantage. That is, they want to do certain activities in their organization. I'll come to what those activities are using artificial intelligence. And then, if that is going to give you edge over other organizations or other businesses, so that is why we care about AI, and we would want to know about artificial intelligence and what is the possibility of possibilities that exist on improving our business using artificial intelligence. Actually, you guys can keep asking me questions or put a message, or you can stop me in between and ask some questions, or we can take all the questions at last. So I'll quickly tell you. I'm only going to cover you like three or four uh, quick use cases, and some of those, a couple of them are actually what we are doing on the ground in Round Square as well. So I'll quickly tell you those, and I'll try to relate to how, as MBA grads, you will be responsible for taking some of those decisions or driving such kind of initiatives in your organizations. So let's say I have one use case called behavior analysis. So what happens and what AI can do here really is AI is going to analyze, let's say, somebody's facial expressions, the choice of words, their tone of voice, and then uh, decide whether the particular person is a best fit of best fit to work in the company. So this kind of analysis is possible with artificial intelligence for, let's say, a HR manager. So along with analyzing your resumes, conducting interviews, what if I have um, an artificial intelligent model explaining me the expressions, the content, the voice, the tone, whether the person is happy joining here, uh, what is the person meaning, and then I decide whether an employee is best fit. Or let's talk about demographic analysis. So this, I think, a lot of you will be aware of. Um, this particular stats is from Facebook. So, how many new likes, unlikes, what geolocations, what age, gender. So, I have details of all of this. And then, let's say I'm looking at customer acquisition. previously or in the post in the pre AI or data analytics phase, what used to happen is spray and pray. So you just send emails to a lot of people, or you try to connect with a lot of people, and then you just some people will respond, some won't, and you don't have any kind of data about who is accepting your proposal or your products or services, and who is not. But right now I can define what kind of people I want to acquire, what kind of customers I want, what kind of customers should I be promoting my product, what kind of customers I should be advertising to. So, and then the complete analysis is, this is just one social media, which is like Facebook. This is just an example, but then I have data like this from multiple social media sites, let's say. Then I can um, very precisely throw ads or show content which is very very relevant to that particular customer. So your customer acquisition becomes very uh, easy, or I would say effective. And then let's talk about another use case, like fraud detection. So let's say you are into finance, and then there are a lot of customers that are doing multiple transactions, and there is a lot of data that I collected about the customer that is doing this particular transaction. So based on the profile of the customer, the kind of transactions that the particular person is making, um, uh, it has become very easy for us to reduce frauds, because with the type of, with the background of the uh, customer, or the kind of places that is transacting. So with data like that, I can reduce the fraud. So if you are into finance or accounting, and into finance, then this becomes a very big use case. I think a lot of banks already have it in place, but then this is one use case that is possible using artificial intelligence. And then, I mean, I need not tell you about this advertising. So let's say I search in Google for, let's say, a watch or a bag or a dress, and then that ad appears everywhere. So on Facebook, on Instagram, on my I mean, just what not, everywhere. And how is it happening? I searched it somewhere else, and I'm sure after this talk, I think I'll be bombarded with ads to pursue MBA, because I opened a lot of sites on MBA management evaluation and all of that. So I think I'm sure I'll be bombarded with ads to pursue MBA right now. So, and how is I mean, what is going behind the scenes to make this recommendation of an ad, or recommendation of a proposal of a product happening because of artificial intelligence or machine learning? So, like all of you gave multiple answers to what artificial intelligence is. So, artificial intelligence is not what we think of as shown in the movies. That is, they're taking over humans, they're becoming more and more intelligent, and somebody comes, they fight, and not all of that. And then, how old do you think is artificial intelligence? So, this is a Time magazine um, of 1996. So that is when the first, the world got to know that machines are able to think. And then let's quickly, with a few answers that I got, let's quickly see what artificial intelligence really is. So I have just put down some tasks here. So formal tasks. So artificial intelligence is nothing but an algorithm. So it's a program. It's somebody, a machine doing a few calculations, applying few logics. So that is what is all about artificial intelligence. It's just an algorithm performing certain tasks. But what kind of tasks and what goes behind the machine's ability to perform the tasks, and what kind of training you give? Like somebody mentioned, we train it to perform certain tasks with the data, and then the data is analyzed, the data is processed. So yes, all of that varies, but at the end of the day, it is set of a few tasks that a machine is going to perform. So let's take up formal tasks. So if you have heard of the Go game, actually AlphaGo of Google, it defeated human in playing that game. So it is a 19 by 19 grid, a little more complex than chess in number of moves that need to be considered, a little complex game than chess, but then a machine was able to defeat a human in that. And then there are typically a few tasks like that where a machine is performing better than a human and it is defeating a human. Those are all formal tasks. They have some mathematical, logical problems that the machine is able to solve. So the speed is really high, the processing power is really high for that logic, all of that. So solving puzzles and all of that. So the next level is the expert tasks. So you see hoardings all over high-tech city, assisted robotic surgery available in our hospitals. So what do you mean by assisted robotic surgery? That is, there are some expert tasks like performed by doctors, but then to increase the precision of, see exactly. I mean, if you ask a robot to put a dot, I mean it can, because the precision levels are really high. But then we would definitely need the guidance or the assistance of the doctor there. So, but a robot is able to, robot in the sense a machine, a robot. I mean, you can. It's a diverse term, a machine or a robot. So let's say a robot is able to perform a surgery with the guidance of a doctor. It's able to. It is on a computer hardware. So expert tasks along with the assistance, a robot is able to do, a machine is able to. But then where it lacks, or where the problem area is for a machine, is the mundane tasks, which are very, very normal, very easy for humans. So let's say there is a baby. The baby will start walking in a few months of being born. They'll be naturally learning how to speak, how to walk. But then to do an expert level task, they would need certain level of training. So that's the opposite of what a machine. So machine finds it very difficult to do the everyday tasks. So we have this famous mess up with one of the big airlines. So one of these guys, he mentioned that brilliant job. I traveled Kolkata, and then my luggage is in Hyderabad. What a brilliant service that you guys did. And what did the bot reply? It happened on Twitter. And the bot replied, "Oh, thank you. Glad that you are happy." So machines are still far away from identifying sarcasm. Um, say, what are very, very normal for humans, which are very mundane for humans, are still a little difficult for machines. But then, if there is a proper logic or mathematical problem which needs a lot of processing, the machine is able to do it really well. So we are still, I mean, right now it is happening. Hyper personalized emails, marketing people will know it well. So you'll be scheduling emails, right? All the, I mean, cold emails or whatever, you'll be scheduling them. And then what is the basic level that you do? Change the first name. Hi, and first name is automated, and automatic emails go, and once they reply, based on what they reply, there will be like multiple options, and an option will be sent. Everything is automated. You have automated cards available right now. But then, as I mentioned, there are still a little far off from machines taking over us. But then there is a good level of research that is going on there. So why am I talking about all of this to you? Because you will be the front face of um, implementing a lot of innovation, a lot of um, activities, or a lot of decision making in your companies, or in your specific domains that you go in. So that's the reason all of this discussion is happening. And then, for whatever I have described of what artificial intelligence can do, it's only the tip of the iceberg. And what happens behind the scenes is a lot. So the crux is the data. So that is where I'm going, and then I'll be explaining you what are the expectations of a manager in terms of the data. So yes, we agree that AI is going to give you an edge. AI is going to drive a lot of decisions in your companies. AI is going to help you innovate. AI is going to put you above a lot of other companies. But then what goes behind the scenes, or what goes inside, is the data. So you may, I mean, once you join the company, you start working with cross functional teams, right? So you'll be working with developers, you'll be facing customers, you will be talking to the stakeholders. All of that is fine. And you may even question the data scientist, asking them, why is it not possible? If Facebook is able to do it, why is it not possible for us? Why are we not able to do certain things? So your feeling is right, that is, you wanted to do something and some other big company is able to do, and why are we not able to do it? So the entire thing and the crux of it lies in the data. So um, so the gap that I see between the management and the data scientist is the data. So once you what I wanted you to understand here is, once you have clean data, you can produce clearer results. So, any process optimization, increasing effectiveness of your processes, or understanding your customers, um, customer obsession, customer service, customer engagement, any kind of efficiency that you want to bring in your teams that you are managing, everywhere you would need clean data. So, one big takeaway, if you have to understand from this particular session, is having um, the understanding the importance of clean data. So always look out for options to gather clean data for the improvement of your business. So usually, what kind of, you may ask right now, what kind of data are you talking about? Let's say you work with a customer facing some retail company, then maybe you would need some personal data, which we get from, see, right now one of your friends introduced me, and all of that is what I put on LinkedIn. So it is my personal data, and we are using it in certain situations, right? So that is personal data. So you'll be gathering personal data. Or let's say um, you will be gathering some web data. So the ads that I am talking about previously, so where did these companies get what I searched in Google? That is my web data. So that is, I searched for, let's say, a watch, or a dress, or some shoes. How is it appearing everywhere else? Because that is my web data that is getting shared. Or let's say I swipe my card somewhere, or I swipe so and so amount of money uh, through, let's say, Paytm. That is my transactional data. That is, I'm transacting with certain point of service, right? Or as in the picture you see, sensor data. You're working in a manufacturing industry, let's say. So you have temperature sensors, you have pressure sensors, um, I mean, whatnot, multiple sensors, vibration sensors. So there are multiple sensors that you can um, uh, insert into your machines, and then collect that data to know about that particular machine. So these are the, I mean, there are, you name it, there is a way we can pull data out of that particular system, right? It may be a person, it may be the transactions, it may be a company, it may be a machine, it may be a locality, it may be a group, It may be a segment, it may be a community, it may be a college. So you name it, there will be a way for us to, get data out of it. And then let's quickly understand the importance of handling data. So now you understood, just to connect the dots, now you understood that how management is evolving and how AI can put you on the edge or give you an edge. And then to implement any of the AI innovations or AI infusion into your systems, you would need data, and the data needs to be clean. And you understood what kinds of data you could collect when you have when you are in a responsible position. And then now I'll talk about how you can handle the data. So it's more about what you could do with the data. So we'll quickly run by all of these points. So define objectives. So first you need to understand what you want to do with the data. So let's say you are in a manufacturing company and you are collecting Facebook uh, personal data. It may not be completely relevant for your business objectives. You should clearly understand what your objective is, what your business goal is. And then, based on the goal, you should understand what kind of data is going to help you in analyzing or in reaching that goal. So, you gather data around that objective, then you analyze and understand, you find some unresolved questions, you find the data needed to solve these questions again, then you revisit, you present the data, you report the data or your findings or your conclusions after analyzing it, and then you again set your goals. So the cycle goes on. And then what is this thing of guard against biases? So there are some, we should be really responsible of what kind of data we are gathering. You should I mean all the data should be bias free, that is um, so there is a popular meme, guys. So there's a popular meme, no? It says you can torture the data, hit it hard, and any result you want, you will get it out of it. So you are not dependent on the data to give you conclusions. You are just beating up the data to give you the conclusions that you want. So that is not how we proceed with the data. So we want to be bias free or fair in collecting the data or processing. You will take all necessary permissions. So there is general data protection regulations. So you'll be using all of that. You will be taking enough permissions from the users. All of that also should be taken care when you're handling data. So this particular point which I wanted to mention is for you to understand that once you have data, that is not the end of it. You will not be giving the data over to your data scientists to build some artificial intelligent machine learning models. So you should be doing a lot more analysis around it to define your business goals, what your business needs. And then data and decision making. So once you have the data, you have analyzed the data, once you have set your objectives. So we can use data for multiple steps. So descriptive analytics, what happened? You are just trying to understand a situation or understand a problem. Or why did it happen? Diagnostic analytics. That is, you are trying to understand the reason behind why certain things happen. Then predictive analytics is predicting the future. So now you have the data, you know why certain situations are happening, and you know uh, certain factors which are causing a particular result, so that in future, if you do 1 2 3 steps, this is what can happen. You are going to predict, um, you are going to prescribe the action items using your data analysis, so that you can get desired outcomes or desired results of your business. So you can use data, and again, if you could connect the dots here, why would I be talking about data and decision making to you? Because MBA grads, So we are managers. We are going to use decision making a lot. You are going to take multiple decisions on various aspects of your business, and then I would want you to understand um, where you stand as an organization, and how you could use data to make certain decisions or to progress in getting better results for your organization. So if there is a few takeaways um, that I would want you to take away from this particular session is define right objectives. So if you are in a very responsible position in your organization, in your company, define your objectives. Don't be vague. Define your hypothesis on what you want your data to solve, and then be responsible, right, and obsessed while collecting the data. So, as I mentioned, uh, don't collect irrelevant data, collect the right data, and then collect it in a right way. That is, whether you set processes up in your organizations to um, set some standards, set some processes, learn about setting standards in your company to collect better data, and then keep your antennas up to look for AI infusion to solve problems. So, practically, there is no industry that I've seen right now which is not using AI to solve their problems. So, there's practically any problem we can solve if we just have enough data. We have historic data. We are going to analyze what happened in the past. We have the present data. We are able to analyze the situations. We are able to analyze competition. We are able to analyze markets, your customers, your employees, the people. We are able to analyze anything and everything um, to solve our problems. So problems are usually the effectiveness of your processes, the efficiency of how your solutions are getting delivered, how well your customers are engaged. So any kind of problem, um, there is an element of artificial intelligence or machine learning that can be infused. So just keep your antennas up to look for AI infusion in your companies to solve problems. Um, so yeah, I'm open up now for questions. So whatever I wanted to give, um, I think I'm done. So if you have any questions, then we can quickly take them up.
What is the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Okay. So I think I'll stop. So artificial intelligence is um, basically a machine is trying to mimic humans. So that is artificial intelligence. And as the name suggests, it's an intelligence. That is, the machine is going to suggest you, like some of your friends mentioned when I asked what AI is, the machine is going to suggest you um, a decision, what to do next. Or the machine is going to tell you what you don't know, basically. So if um, I don't know something because the data is vast, so I'm not analyzed it properly as a human. But since the machine has a capability, a processing capability, machine is able to analyze it and tell me certain things which I don't know. So it is applying its intelligence by taking in inputs of the data that I have trained it on. So that is artificial intelligence. Machine learning is one step below artificial intelligence. So there is nothing so intelligent about a machine learning. So machine learning is mostly automating all your mundane activities. So it is high um, processing high amounts of data, which is really difficult or impossible for a human because of the vastness, but a machine will be able to do it because of the processing capabilities. But then it is not going to tell me anything that I don't know. So it is one step below artificial intelligence. And most of the world, like 90 to 95% of AI that you see outside is only machine learning. So there is very less artificial intelligence right now. So artificial intelligence really is about decision making by the machine. So like the self drive cars. So if there is a, so there's this famous problem, right? So um, you have a dog and a human, and then if it's a self-driving car, if I am driving, so based on my preferences, I will make a decision whether to hit a dog or a human, based on my mind or my mindset or my beliefs. But then how are you going to train a machine on it, or how are you making a machine decide whom to hit? So we are relying on the machine to make certain decisions. That is artificial intelligence. So we are not close to making that happen yet. So 95 to 97% of all the problems are met by machine learning itself.
Yes, ma'am, got it. Thank you. So, ma'am, artificial intelligence is one step more than the machine learning. We can say this, right?
Yes, machine learning is more about automating a lot of stuff, high processing activities of the data, so which are very difficult or uh, for a human, because of the processing capabilities of a machine will be able to do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, nowadays there's a word called Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0, where people speak of robotic process automation. In
Right.
every process that they work, people make it automatic. They want the flows to run on their own and generate reports every day. Um, is every company that is looking into it, because that is a same work that goes on every day, but not with new skills or the creativity involved in it. Is there anything, any tool or a service that is provided with adding new changes? Can we think about it?
So, so actually, when a few years ago, when we say digitalization, we are talking about just having a website and then having your employee data on the web or on the cloud, and processing their, let's say, salaries on a machine. All the calculations are happening on the machine. So that was what we were talking about a few years ago. But right now, when we talk about Industry 4.0, like you mentioned, um, let's say I want reports to be generated every day. um, so Facebook is a great example again. So let's say I change my, so as a person, let's say today I started liking a particular musician, or a particular kind of food, or a particular kind of belief. Let's say I turned um, uh, all of that are recorded on, let's say, Facebook. So my profile on Facebook changed. So that kind of real time analysis was not possible for humans to do, because who will be generating that report every day? So yes, there are definitely, so these days when we talk about digitalization, as you mentioned, that's the first entry into machine learning for any company. So if there are any mundane tasks that a company is performing, so like you mentioned, generating reports or collecting data, uploading data, or updating all their systems with the data, translating one kind of input to another kind of input for better consumption. So any kind of mundane activity that a company or an organization is doing right now can be automated, and then that would be the first step for any organization to think about. Yes, so robotic process automation is, I can say, the first step for any organization if they are venturing out into uh, or they want to innovate using ML. So that would be their first step.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So, ma'am, I have a question. So, recently I have been going through many terms which are interesting and new to me, like cultural analytics and public policy analytics. I'm wondering how the presence of people from diverse academic backgrounds. So basically, I my undergraduate degree is in English literature. So how will the presence of people from diverse academic background be an advantage or disadvantage to the field of business analytics?
Okay, so that's um, an interesting. So, business analytics as such is a set of tools maybe for you to analyze the data. So, as I mentioned, there is data coming in from different sources. So, let's say you're working in a manufacturing unit, you have data of your employees, of your systems, of your machines, of sensors, and everything. If you're working in a software company, you have different set of data coming in. So, data analytics is basically again very specific to what you learn in your course, is set of some tools that will help you do the data analytics. So that has nothing to do with your background as such. But then if you want to take advantage of your background um, into data analytics, then you can choose that particular domain. So for example, if you are into English literature, so there is some interesting uh, use cases that are coming up in literature. So how the literature is evolving right now, there are a lot of biases introduced by the literature. So for example, there was one book, and in that a doctor was always referred as he and a nurse was always referred as she. And then that became a huge issue because um, a doctor can also be a she, right? Why is a nurse always called a she? A nurse can be a he as well. So if you really want to utilize your domain expertise that you already have, so you can venture out. So this is a book that I'm talking about. If you're talking about English literature, so if you can analyze data from previous previous ages to how news is being reported in the current uh, scenario. So, are there any biases? Is some news article always biased or leaning towards a particular, like you mentioned, political analytics? So, is it leaning towards any particular political agenda or any particular, what do you say, narrative? So if you can really want to utilize your domain expertise, you can utilize. But as it is, if you ask me about data analytics, it is very, uh, it is not dependent on any domain as such. Anybody can take up data analytics. Data analytics is a set of tools at the end of the day, and then when once you have the data, you just analyze it and then draw certain insights out of the data. So I don't see that as a disadvantage, your domain becoming a disadvantage to it, because once you're an MBA, I feel it becomes uh, a level playing for you. So it doesn't matter what your background is, you can start like fresh. You are equal to anybody for that matter. But if you want to use your domain, then it's up to you. You can definitely go into your domain.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for the answer.
So there.
Hi, ma'am. Happy this side. So, as we are talking about the future prospects of artificial intelligence, so we generally have this debate that machines will take over humans and more jobs will be done by machines and everything. But as we discussed this also, that we need that human filter to work any process, whether it's flying an automated airplane, we need pilots, and whether to send an email also, if there are suggestions, we a human chooses which suggestions to go on. So what do you think will be the future prospects in jobs and everything? So I want to know your point of view about this.
Okay. So as I mentioned in the PPT as well, so my view would be there is we are still very far from machines taking over the jobs or the job market. So let's say, and there would be human intervention uh, at various phases. Um, so where I see, or right now is the time where a lot of companies are getting into artificial intelligence or machine learning. And the reason being, right now the computers or the processing power of the infrastructure that we have increased a lot. So the artificial intelligence existed from a few decades, but then why is it now popular now? Is because the infrastructure has become advanced. The infrastructure is now supporting that kind of at a very lesser cost compared to previous decades. So the infrastructure is now supporting all of that. But then when you ask me the future, so right now what I feel is every company has got into this culture of collecting data, but then there are very few companies which are utilizing the data to make decisions or to draw certain insights, or to really do some changes in their processes, or so very few companies are actually doing. They are still in the collection phase. So right now if you ask me, the boom will be where a lot of companies utilizing that data. So we have data, just that we'll start utilizing it. And in the future, like you mentioned, there would always be human intervention. So even if there are a few jobs going away, there will always be new jobs emerging. So that was the trend always. So there was a plow and a couple of uh, bulls doing farming. Then a tractor came in. But then what happened? A person is sitting on the tractor and doing it. Just that the speed increased, the efficiency increased. So I see that even in future the same thing is going to happen. You are going to make your processes better. You're going to make your efficiency better. Your productivity increases. The systems perform better. The operations become very easy. Uh, but human intervention will still be there, human jobs will still be there, and then where a human contributes will still be there. Just that the aspects where we would need speed, precision, accuracy is what is going to be improved, which was difficult for a human or prone to human error is going to be improved, but not completely taken away. So even if, I mean, there are cases like that, but then um, one person doing one task in a day, right now a drone is doing it in, let's say, one day. But then there is again a one person sitting and operating the drone. It becomes like that. So there will still be a human intervention, but as I mentioned, the precision, accuracy, speed, efficiency, that is going to be increased.
Yes, ma'am. But like our parents say a lot nowadays that you keep on using your mobiles and your laptops. You're always on them, and it will affect your mental health and everything. So these things are also discussed by various businesses as well. That these are actually creating anxiety and depression in their employees, and they are not being productive as such. So how will they be managing these two things together? Like a boom in these machine learning and dealing with machines a lot of times, and then dealing with their health as well and their so you got my point, right? So
So it is like I mentioned, the takeaway. So it is your business objective. So what your business want, I mean, what are your business objectives or goals? For Facebook, let's say it is money making, and they want to make a lot of money by throwing correct ads or relevant ads to me, or they want me to hook onto their app. So like let's say Instagram, or they want me to hook onto that app. That is my business objective. Let's say I train the machine to be like that, or I use the machine to to achieve that business objective. But let's say my objective is we have enough digital well-being tools right now, so their business objective is to reduce your screen time, to increase certain things. So machine is just performing what I'm asking it to do. And so that is the reason I'm the one of the key takeaways is defining your business objectives and then being right about collecting your data and using your data. So if you're utilizing the data for um, yeah, there will be companies maybe in future bigger than Facebooks and Facebooks of the world, which are going to fight mental health and mental health well-being. So, and I think the same machine learning will be helping achieve that as well.
Ma'am, like see, the privacy is the next big thing for everyone, and see, even companies like Apple is trying to block the Facebook from tracking the data. And future we can see to beat Apple, Android may introduce same kind of thing. So how digital marketing is going to be affected with this?
Um, So, yes, that's a very interesting question. So, right now, digital marketing is completely driven by your Facebook or um, uh, because
Twitter,
it's very easy and it's very easily available. Google Analytics, Facebook, Twitter, or few information that the data that you're getting from these social media sites. But then there will always be data that a person is going to expose, which is relevant to us. Like, let's say I go buy groceries and I swipe my card in supermarket. That is a data. So obviously, the data will be reduced, and there will be new strategies emerging. So right now it is Facebook, and just because it is easily available. So once that gets starting to get blocked, there will still be some web page data. There will still be my name, my gender, my age, my location tracked somewhere, my web, like I was mentioning, I search for an ad, or I search for a particular location, or I search for a particular dress, that can still appear. So but then definitely that's going to be um, changes in the strategy. I'm really not sure how, what is that change, but then we'll be like sailing through, or changing our strategies accordingly. But yes, there will be definitely an effect.
like do you think this decentralized technology can take this problem, like blockchain or everything?
um I wouldn't completely say it would take away, but then yes, it will definitely have an impact. Because if you say data privacy and having data stored in blockchain, and everything is ledgered or everything is tracked in the blockchain, everything is decentralized, so you have your data and you have complete control of how much you want to expose, what kind of data you want to expose. So it only means that you want to be contacted that less. So I think it is still with the customer to decide how much I want to, expose about my data, and then get relevant information. So yeah, decentralization definitely impacts that, right? Because right now data is available everywhere, anywhere. Even I can just open a website and start throwing ads in Facebook for relevant people. Let's say that is blocked, definitely I'll not have access to. um, uh, so there will maybe the days will come where you'll still spray and pray, but then that is when you start, um, what do you say, taking permissions to get access to your data. So maybe you should give me, so the blockchain, like you used, you have certain data of yours logged with you, and then you are giving access to me, access to that data to me, only me and not everybody else, and then I can use it to still contact you. So there will be more of permissions more of granting um, all of, I mean, that processes will start.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, nowadays we can see that the data that we are having is very minimal. To be frank, like only part of our work is being tracked by the computers or the machines that we are having. We have seen recently in Spain that they are trying to insert the tracking chips into youngsters' body so that they track each and everything that they are doing. So if that comes, we really need supercomputers to analyze those data. And because, as you said, clean data is something that is very important for a successful output, right? So that will have lots and lots of data that we have to clean. So I think it will be going to impact the environment in a very big way. Am I
Again,
right?
like I mentioned, what you mentioned is really true, and all of that again boils down to your business objective and environment, as you mentioned. So right now I'm this Amazon, they have their data center inside an ocean because they wanted to control um, uh, the energy that is getting generated, the heat, or um, um, to conserve that, or to make it more efficient. It is efficient underwater than on the land. So yes, again, if my business objective is, I think, even, I mean, as we, it has become more like a discussion right now, because there are, you are asking me a few questions which are there in hands of the government. So let's say even the government will start making certain policies of how you can handle your data centers, how much data can you process per, let's say, per given time, how much amount of data can you process. So maybe there will be rules coming around, like Satya was mentioning, around privacy, around security, inserting chips inside youngsters, and one country may not be okay with that. So if environment is my business objective, then I'll be taking action towards that. if if a safety of, let's say, my youngsters is my goal, then maybe I'll be okay with inserting chips inside youngsters. So it is again completely dependent on, so like right now China doesn't have Google only, Google, Facebook, and all of that. So as a country, it is their decision to not expose their people's data to outside the world. So it is more like, again, the government's interest on what they want, how much do they want to go to utilize the data, and what form they want to utilize the data. So it is completely dependent on the objectives again. So based on that, the next steps would be there. So I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen is, um, in I mean, new innovations will be introduced for the company. So there will be new regulations. So there will be some a lot of legal or the law or some acts would be coming up of how you want to process your data, how you want to collect your data. And there will be like, some of you were mentioning, so there will be mental health, let's say, is my focus. There will be different kind of um, rules that will be coming around, and then the next course will be decided based on that. So it's like a huge flow chart, right? Based
Yes,
on
ma'am.
what I want is what my next step is going to be. And then there's always innovation. I mean, huge amount of research, huge amount of money that is being spent on research in this particular area. So yeah, we should wait and watch on what's going to happen.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, hi.
Yeah, as per your understanding and knowledge, like what do you think are the places where the MBA students can fit in this data world?
Yes, as I mentioned, since you will be managers and somebody who will be in the front facing of your customers, so you will be responsible for customer engagement or operational efficiency, handling operations or some financial so some decision making process of the entire system. So usually management graduates go into managerial positions, so you are going to make certain decisions to improve certain processes, improve efficiencies, improve your customer service, customer engagement. So um, as I mentioned in the PPT as well, once you have uh, right data, right business objective, you can use the data to make these decisions. As I mentioned, the descriptive, prescriptive, that that improvement. So you can use the data to make right decisions in your organization. So it doesn't matter which industry you belong to or which domain you are working on, but then there is definitely data analytics is going to um, help you in taking better decisions and move towards your goal faster.
Yes, got it, ma'am. Thank you.